Britt.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you for bringing up those important issues. I think we're all seeing that in our states, and so look forward to working with you to make sure that we get these things right. So, Madam Secretary, you have hit the ground running at the Department of Labor. You just kicked off your America Works tour, or America at Work. Yeah, so tell me about that. Obviously, you've been listening, learning, coast to coast. We certainly want to have you in Alabama, but I'd love to know, what are you hearing from people all across the country? What are their greatest concerns, and what things do you feel like you need to be taking action on?
Well, certainly the topic is the workforce when I'm on the ground, and part of the equation and how we're going to grow this economy. The president has a mandate that growing the American economy is key, giving more power to the people, keeping more money in their pockets. So connecting the dots of the workforce to what the market demand is. So on the ground, the questions that I ask when I'm visiting with these American workers is, what are the barriers? How can we assist you? What's the workforce training? What gets in the way of you deciding to join the labor force? And those answers can be vast.
Yeah.
Obviously, it can be families, it can be childcare, it could be funding to get the skills that they need. So my job is to fill in those gaps. How can I assist in doing those? And so some of the things that we're hearing, not only from the companies, are we want more workers, men and women, to join the labor force. We want that participation rate to go up. And it's been holding steady, and we want it to go up.
Absolutely. So that's one of the things we talk about in our state, is how do we increase our labor participation rate? You touched on a number of things, and I think my colleagues have asked some questions about apprenticeships and that kind of thing. I want to hone in on one thing that really hasn't been discussed today that you just brought up, and that is childcare. Whether I am at the top of the state or the bottom of the state, or whether I'm at my largest manufacturer or, a small business on Main Street, they say, workforce is an issue, and they continually either lose people because of reliability or affordability of childcare, and or it is more challenging to recruit. When we started digging in on this, we saw that about 59% of stay-at-home and or non-working or part-time working parents say they want to re-engage in the workforce, but that affordability or accessibility of childcare is an impediment to that. Now, look, if you want and have the opportunity to stay home, I absolutely want that for you. But if you want to re-engage in the workforce and help with President Trump's vision of building back America, then I want to make sure that we remove those impediments. A question for you, and certainly don't want to ask you to comment on any specifics, but you can say definitively that this is something you hear from workers, both large and small, and employers across the country.
Absolutely, and in Congress I heard it as well. I did a listening tour in Congress through agriculture. That's not a place that I would have thought I would have heard childcare for our farmers and ranchers.
So, and what we've seen is that between the ages of 0 and 5, a parent spends about 22% of their income on childcare. When you look at our economy across the board, it's $122 billion a year we lose to this reliability issue. I have a specific piece of legislation, a bipartisan piece of legislation, the Child Care Affordability or Availability and Affordability Act, that really puts parents back in the driver's seat and also encourages businesses, both large and small, to be a part of the solution. I think it's critically important that we empower parents, we empower hard-working Americans, and we help create a path for their American dream and for prosperity. So not asking you to comment on the specifics of my legislation, but knowing that we could be doing more to help these hard-working parents, I think you would say that's something that you agree with.
Absolutely, and whatever technical assistance I can give to any member of Congress as they move their own legislation through, I'm glad to do it and give you that data that you might need to work with your
Wonderful. Well, we'd love to continue to work with you as we build momentum. We've been building it in a bipartisan way. I think this is something Americans deserve better from us, and we're trying to produce that. Last year, I actually asked the Federal Reserve Chair about these common sense reforms that I'm talking to you about, and said if we were to do this, would this actually help with our labor participation rate? And, he said absolutely. So I'm glad that you agree with that as well. In my last few seconds, just want to talk a little bit about apprenticeship programs. I know that there has been some different information out there, and wanted to give you an opportunity to speak to the fact that President Trump and obviously the department value these apprenticeship programs and continue to work to create pathways for them.
Well, thank you. I'll be brief. 1 million apprentices is what the president is asking in order to fulfill the need for those workers to grow this economy. We have anywhere between 680 to 700,000 apprentices now. We want more apprentices in the pipeline. So we're working very diligently through the Department of Labor to have that really lean into those registered apprenticeships and give the tools that are necessary for those companies to say, that's what we want to do. So for an example, International Association of Firefighters just launched their first apprenticeship program because we know we need our firefighters throughout the country. And so again, I think we've added about 83 apprentices since January, and so we're well on our way to that million.
Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you on all these issues.
Thank you, Senator.